One of the things I hear from a lot of my guests is at some point they realize they've got to release control. Now, for you, it was kind of you were forced because customers were coming and you just realized you can't do them all. And so you
Sure.
started to hire account managers. But now you may be at that point because you're probably hiring other leadership to run parts of the business. How are you facing that challenge of kind of releasing control, but at the same time empowering those team members to achieve the goals that you have for APM Help and ultimately make customers and employees happy?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a multifaceted question and answer. I We're absolutely at the point where I'm now hiring for other management and leadership positions. Most recently, for example, we quite literally, as of last night, brought on our actual like a controller, right? Like a junior, like eventual like CFO style kind of person,
Right.
right? And like this hire, actually, we got introduced to him more than almost 2 years ago, right? He's the husband of one of our other key employees we had who went off and jumped to another company, but we had always remained in touch. He had actually been an accountant. He had his own firm. He sold that firm, right, and worked for a year at the acquiring company, and just had a kid. His wife messaged me as like, "Hey, I see my husband, job searching, right?" And we caught up, and I was like, actually, my other leadership team members have said like, we really need to bring in someone with strong financial like background, right?
Mhm.
Like, although we are an accounting firm and we do a lot of accounting for our own clients, like it's hard. It's really hard to maintain that kind of stuff. And we do a different flavor of like trust, property based or portfolio based trust accounting and bookkeeping. So it is quite different from company financials and recurring and analyzing cohort and churn and LTV and MRR. And if any of you guys have no idea what these acronyms are, absolutely happy. You should Google them. But but like these are all things that like I wouldn't even be able to call myself an expert at them, right? And so um, one, we've definitely been able to hire or stay keeping in touch with just people, right? Like in general, right? Like we've had a lot of success in just maintaining those relationships and eventually making either getting really great intros or hiring straight from our network. I wouldn't say extremely active, but I do try to stay relatively involved in different startup communities.
Mhm.
So with a prior company, we were a Capital Factory company. So we're in the Capital Factory, like Slack stuff. Um, Same thing, prior company, we were a 500 startups incubator company or accelerator company,
Mhm.
and so we're still pretty active in those kinds of communities as well. And so being able to reach out, like I've met some amazing founders and stayed in touch with quite a few of them, and sometimes as it relates to like building technology, right? Like some of our core tech was actually built by a fellow founder who was a CTO at a separate startup that eventually failed, right?
Mhm.
And like just staying in touch. And I was he needed work, I needed a problem to be resolved with tech, and he built us an amazing Chrome extension that now like powers pretty much everything that we do,
Oh, wow.
right? And so I think those are very, very interesting. Your question specifically around like giving up control and whatnot, I think we've been very lucky because we haven't necessarily had to hire like straight from a job pool or job applicant pool. Like we haven't had to recruit these specific kinds of like blast out to put a job listing. We've simply reached out to our networks, and been lucky enough to find potentially really great fits. And yeah, and absolutely having great advisors, right? Is extremely important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the power of networks. And so, yeah, are you giving up control? Sure, but you're doing it in a way where you're getting trusted employees to be able to take that portion of your business on. And because they came from your network, because you have relationships with them maybe in the past, you can immediately kind of plug and play them and know that they're going to deliver. So that's a great way to approach it. Kind of leverage your networks for sure.